Hi everybody and welcome to the Endless Celts podcast as we react to Celtic 4 and Ross County 2. As you can see, the same squad as previously on the pre-match podcast. And to be honest, I'm going to come to you and don't know how to feel about that game. And I'll start with yourself, Ross. I mean, a bit of a shaky start. How do you think Celtic done in the first 20 minutes?
The first 20 minutes, I thought we were all over the place. I thought Carter Vickers played like a guy that's played 3 minutes of football in 5 years. It wasn't great defensively. There was a bit of cohesion at times going forward, but on the whole, you have to credit Ross County. They started the game well and they took advantage of Celtics. I don't want to say apprehension, but it was a central defensive partnership there that haven't played together a lot. You could see that. I thought Greg Taylor was absolutely fucking phenomenal. But no, listen, it wasn't a great first 20 minutes. I can't remember when we scored the first goal, but sort of settles you down after that. But if you're talking about the first 20 minutes alone, it wasn't great. But listen, it's early in the season. Celtic they'll only get better and better. And it's a new manager, it's new tactics. I'm not too worried.
100%. I think we'll come on to the tactical side of things. I think we've seen a few differences and yourself, Billy. I mean, we were talking in here, you were saying to me to calm down. It was the first 10 minutes and stuff. But you know me, I kind of react to things off the cuff. But how did you feel? It was just settling into the game for you, was it?
Oh, yeah. Well, you're talking just about the start of the game? Yeah. Well, the start of it, I mean, I don't know if I would say nervy, but yeah, obviously it wasn't the best start. But fair play to Ross County, they didn't come in just to sit in behind the ball. They attacked us. They had a good go at us, and they got 2 goals, obviously, because of that. So fair play to them for having a go. But yeah, if you're talking about just the first 20 minutes, yeah, obviously we took a wee while to get going, which is not what we used to, because under Ange it used to be full pelt, 100 miles an hour to start off with. But yeah, afterwards I thought we settled well into the game.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously you mentioned Greg Taylor, like you're going to throughout this whole podcast, and you did throughout the whole match. But Greg Taylor,
even when it wasn't it.
the Rock, yeah. Greg Taylor was involved in the first goal in that penalty friendly, kind of falling into the box, and one of their players found him. Turnbull put it away. Obviously, a big headline was Hatate not starting. We discussed that previously, but I think Turnbull murdered it, didn't he? 2 goals in the game.
Well, that's if you look at it in isolation, 2 goals in merits it, but I thought Turnbull actually had a decent game in general. So, but Taylor, he found himself in that position. He was in that position a lot last season as well, where he'd come sort of inside the boxes playing the neat 1-2s, and it was just one of the ones where if you get there first, you know you're probably got to get the foul. Either way, if the Ross County gets there first, probably got to be a foul to them, because Taylor will just trip him up. It was a fairly innocent tackle, but it was apparently nothing more, nothing less. And Turnbull, I called it the keeper's top pins in the right hand corner. He couldn't up in it. Total opposite. Great penalty. And it just, like I say, didn't have a great start to the game. And that Ross County started the better team. And we were looking, I don't know if Dodge is right, but it was looking like the first game of the season. Like we'd never played a pre-season game as well. At times I thought, we're a wee bit shaky, but it just settled us. And I think for them, we never really looked in trouble.
Yeah, I think that settled us down. To come to the comments, Paul, thanks, job done, kudos to Ross County. They got us on our toes. Think they stay up, but don't know how to strengthen their squad. Hail. Corville, we're going to come on to the goalkeeper. Trust me, we had a discussion in here about it. Anthony's in the car, he's on the way up to us. And Michael McDonald, you look a wee bit more looser than the first show. Well, to be fair, I think that's normal. I mean, we've sunk a few pints. Palms in. Hail, everyone. Hope you're all well. Good to see Turnbull scoring twice. I hope Brenda gives him a new lease of life. I think we can see that. But John, coming to the penalty kick, it's just what we needed at the right time, wasn't it?
Aye, she's best.
Yeah. Pam and Joe Pierre, my 2 favourites.
They're so nice.
You heard it here. I know, but the penalty did come at the perfect time, because I think, like you says, we just kind of took a little bit too long, I guess, to maybe settle in. So the penalty was just a wee bit of a lifeline for us. I think it just kind of took a wee bit of pressure off us and allowed us to get a wee bit more comfortable.
I think it's hilarious how everybody say we take too long to settle in and we're 2-0 up after 25
no, but
minutes.
I mean, when you're playing it, I mean, we're used to obviously the style that we played under Ange, right? And you're used to, and you're playing at home.
The first team,
I didn't expect Ross County to come at us the way they did, and they were putting us under pressure, and I wasn't expecting it. And for the first 10 minutes, we did look like, I mean, they had about fucking 3 corners in the first 10 minutes. So there was a bit of pressure there. So I think the goal kind of settled things. And then after that, we were kind of cruising. Obviously, we conceded 2 goals, but I mean, we scored 4, so I'm not too worried.
I think the thing is, like, Angie's teams are like 6th gear. Like,
You could tell the pace was slow.
Like, I think Europe kind of found that out last year. Was you can't, like, you can't keep it at that pace for however long. And I just feel like Rodgers is a bit more tactically nuanced. He's a bit better, and I don't think that, like, we don't need to be in 6th gear for the full game. So for me, we were in 2nd gear for the first 20 minutes or so. They came, but like, I mean, there was one guilty chance where obviously Hart made a bit of a mistake. Yeah. But other than that, there's nothing there to me that's like, Jesus Christ, heart in my mouth moment. I never felt like we were never not in control.
No, I don't agree with that. I honestly think that going forward, we looked quite, as I said,
say you're about Bernabé goal.
But I thought we were quite cohesive in that going forward, but defensively I thought we were all over the place. At 6s and 7s, I don't think we looked in control at any point in that first 20 minutes defensively, but going forward, as I say, we kept the ball well, we looked fairly decent, but again, it's early in the season, but defensively I thought we were really all over the place. I wasn't comfy at any point.
Yeah, but that's probably down to the Rocky coming in, and obviously we're going to come on the Starfelt, and the latest rumour is apparently confirmed by Rodgers he could be leaving, so that was the reason he was on the bench. But to come to you again, Ross, in terms of the second goal, I mean, a bit great play by O'Reilly, headed on to Abada, and a fantastic cross for Kyogo to finish, and I think that was the I think that was the impression that we got, as John said, it settled us down into the game. We started pressing ourselves more into keeping the possession. And then, as you've seen on the screen there, which is in front of us, Kyogo put it away.
It was a great goal. Similar to the Bilbao game during the week. Most of the goals, obviously the first one's a penalty, but most of the goals we scored were really well worked goals. That is what a Rodgers team does. They play really good football. They cut teams open. They take them apart. And they done that at periods of the game today, and it took the game away for Ross County. On the whole, I would say, you look at you score 4 goals at home, you think it's a really good performance. If you've not seen the game, but in my opinion, it was a good performance in fits and starts.
I totally agree.
But listen, it's the first game of the season.
Yeah,
it'll come.
I disagree with you both.
That's fine. I thought it was a good, as I say, fits and starts. But the performance level will come. The day is about getting players up to speed, winning the game, getting the 3 points, putting the pressure on Rangers right away, because this is the last time we'll play before them, and it's only because we're the league winners. We have to unveil the flag. That'll be it. But, listen, I'm okay with the performance today, but it's no all about the performance today. It's about getting the 3 points on the board to begin with.
But I agree with what you're saying. I don't know how to feel about the game. Still don't know how to feel about it. You disagree, but let's talk about Kyogo, Willie. I mean, we've seen a different style from him today. I think he dropped deep a lot of times. He was linking the play. Under Postecoglou was more on the shoulder. He's more in the box all the time. He did get his goal, a fantastic bit of play, obviously, by Abada with that cross, and he finished the first time. But what do you think about Kyogo's game? For me personally, I just thought he was linking it well. He was creating chances, and that's the best I've seen him in a while.
Yeah, it's interesting because for me, I'd have thought his whole game is about playing on the shoulder, and for me that's his biggest strength. But he was coming deep a lot. He was playing coming in the centre midfield a lot to take the ball, and it's obviously got to be a Rodgers instruction, because he was never anywhere near that position in the park unless he was chasing a boy back for the 6-yard line. But it was really interesting, and I mean, a couple of goals. I can't remember what goal it was in particular. I think it might have been O'Reilly's last one. Well, I know we'll go on to it, but he's come deep for that. And there's a couple of situations, and I mentioned it before that in the pre-pod actually, about how O could do that and how that could help Abada and Maeda's game, because they're coming in more like inside forwards rather than wingers. And I worked a treat today, and I definitely did.
I thought we've seen a different side of him. And John, you look at it too. I mean, Brendan Rodgers, we see the tactical tweaks, different kind of style from Postecoglou. And Kyogo dropping deep for me can only go well for the team. Turnbull was basically being the second runner in behind, and he did get his rewards, to be fair, with the 2 goals. But it's a different way, isn't it? Different way of playing. And as Willie said there, under Postecoglou, he was just cut and thrust at the top, but he was getting more involved.
Aye, to an extent. I mean, what I would say is, like, obviously, we've already touched on the way we played under Ange. We pressed high, and we were pretty much in that final third for like 90% of the game, right? So naturally, Kyogo's going to be there. And at times where he was defending for the front, he was trying back, he was doing what he needed to do. I think the day we were a wee bit more open and nose settled. So there was a lot of points in the game where Ross County were able to get up the park a little bit, and he was coming back. So I don't think it's necessarily a case of, he's doing something different. I think he's still playing the same game he's been playing. He's just, the way the game's got to play out, he's had to sort of track back in that respect. But I fully expect him, as things goes on and things start clicking and we're starting to press a bit, and we're spending more time up there, that we'll see him just kind of in and around the box like we've always seen him.
I don't know. I think there was 3 or 4. I think there's 3 or 4 counters today where we were Maeda or whoever was all the way on the wing, and when they were playing the ball across, Kyogo was the 3rd or 4th furthest person on. It was a Forrest or a Maeda or one of the wingers that were further forward than him. I think it's been that's a deliberate tactic.
I agree with that.
It's definitely a change. But I know what you're saying. He was tracking back and he was defending, but as Willie said, there was times where we were breaking up the park. He was a centre midfield. So, I mean, that's not where you see Q. But I want to bring something to you, Sonny, in the comments here. Paddy, idiot, hit the set, but Conor McGregor was haunting in the first half, very, very stagnant. And to be fair, well, he hits us. But in terms of Conor McGregor, I mean, to be fair, as a podcast, I had to call it all out if people aren't playing well. But I didn't really notice McGregor did anything wrong in the first half. Did you see it? And then again on Kyogo, was that?
I can't say I noticed. I'm not going to sit and say Conor McGregor had his best game of football in a Celtic jersey, but equally I don't think he had that bad a game. I think he'd never done it. He just kept everything ticking over really, and then you obviously seen it when Home came on. He obviously pushed up. I appreciate it was later on, but I mean maybe it's just what we've seen. Obviously everybody will see the game a wee bit different, but for me, I don't think Conor McGregor. It was maybe a 6 out of 10 a day. It was not an amazing. Wasn't he rotten? Like I said, I'm not.
Was he honking though?
No, never.
I don't think you can look at that game and pick anybody out of that team and make
I can't think him misplacing a pass, putting us in bother. I mean, somebody might point one out and you'll go, oh, I can remember that now. But off the top of my head, can't think I'm doing anything that made me think, oh, for fuck's sake. But at the same time, I can't think him going, well, that was amazing for Conor McGregor. I just think it was one of the games that not passed him by, but he played his way through it. And it's, I mean, Conor McGregor, we all know he's a top player in the year. I think we a lot of sometimes taken for granted how, and we just hold him to that level that he is just a top player, and we just expect a lot. But I'm with you with Kyogo. I think he was. It was all about that dropping deep and stuff. It did seem to want to get more involved, or it's maybe more a tactic to get involved in things like that, and then linking up the playing. Even like I know that he's gone out. His touch for O'Reilly's goal was brilliant. But
do you think that Calmac will play a different role on this side than he did with Andy?
He played well.
He played different positions.
He played more of 10 originally under Rodgers, didn't he?
Aye. I don't think he could play that far. He'll go between 6 and 8.
See, as much as he was, and by the way, he was immense last year and the year before.
Aye.
But I think his best years were under Rodgers when he was getting in and scoring goals.
We're saying like,
but at the same time, I don't think I would want him in that position. I think we've got loads more alternatives in that position that I think can do a job. And I love him in that number 6, but it's not. I just feel like it's a different. Even though it's still the number 6 he would play, I feel like it's a different number 6, a different role he would play.
We're kind of basing it as well as like thinking Rodgers has got to play the 4-3-3, where he was predominantly more a 4-2-3-1. So it will be slightly different in a sense.
He's playing like back, I don't know, like maybe 2000 to 2007, 8, maybe up to 10. You played that number 6, you were a holding midfielder. People who play that sort of defensive midfield role now is generally in a midfield 3. You're not holding midfield anymore. You're a creative midfielder starting attacks. You don't even break attacks up as such.
Aye. And I think Rodgers likes that. He likes them. it's no particularly, by the way, you're 6, you're 8, you're 10. He likes them to kind of, by the way, when you go, you're going to sit, when you do this and that. I think he is much more a tactician. Well, he did that at Liverpool with Gerrard, didn't he? He played he had 4 at the back, but when they 2 went forward, I think Gerrard kind of came in the back 3.
Yeah.
So I think he's much more like tactical, and I think these guys are all going to. That's what I was saying about how it's a different role.
I mean, it's no secret that, as you said, McGregor had the best years on the Rodgers, breaking into the box, getting goals, getting assists, and that flexibility hasn't been lost because he's been playing the 6 under Postecoglou. And even at that, like you said, it's not really a defensive midfielder where he's getting stuck in, he's getting the ball, he's like a quarterback in that instance where he gets the ball, just puts it forward. And
Neil Lennon played that role perfectly. That's not the role.
One anymore. Put every 5-yard pass.
But it's different. It's tactical evolution, all the stuff. And I do want to say thank you to Michael McDonald. I think this is a brilliant comment. I don't want to blow smoke up your arse, but this is the best show pre and post game. Keep it up, and the word will spread. We appreciate that, buddy, so much.
Cheers, pal.
Patrick McLaughlin, I could easily sound like an old grump, but we did win. Oh, we know we won, but it's weird. It's an indifferent feeling.
A few old grumps in here, right?
I get the feeling Brendan Rodgers really now answers bets, which is that's a left field one there.
No, but I mean that to be fair, Patrick though. I mean, he obviously has to establish himself in the team, right? So, I mean, we as fans were so used to a particular team playing a particular style of football. Rodgers is a completely different manager.
Yeah.
And he's got his own sort of tactical style, he's got his own way of doing things, and he's going to want to pick the team, obviously suits that to the best what we've got at the minute. So, to an extent, he's obviously going to need to play players in certain positions and see sort of how they sort of fit into that.
Do you think that's why you are feeling that way about that game? Because it's no hell for leather.
It could be.
Minute 1 to minute 90 that we've been used to for 2 years. When it's a bit more like.
No, I'm not being that sounding really smart, but as I said, I liked us in fits and starts going forward, and I think it will come. But I think defensively, we never defended that great as a unit. We were all over the place. There was no understanding, but it will come. I think in time, but they need time to play together. I don't know.
Even then,
could it be?
Actually thinking about it now, that back four didn't they play together pre-season at all? Did they?
They played
no, the other night. No.
The back four.
If you've really been picky,
the full back four. But Navrocki and is it?
Carter-Vickers did play
45 minutes.
But bring it to the defensive side
well,
of things.
could we be looking at thinking because Brendan Rodgers, he was that good first time, so we're judging him on his first time round?
Well, I mean, it's early to judge him. I'm not judging the team. I'm just saying what I've seen in that single game.
Previous sort of success, and going, well, we know what we can get from him. That's maybe wasn't what we were expecting.
But we all know Brendan.
Because I do think it's a weird feeling I've got after that game. It's
but we all know Brendan Rodgers more. Listen, we all know Brendan Rodgers. He's tactical. He's more possession based, as you said. Willie Postecoglou's more boom, cut and
I don't get it, man.
No, look,
we scored 4 goals. We could have scored 7 or 8. We had some lovely, sublime passages of play. Even some of the goals we didn't. By the way, Turnbull missed a chance. That was his best chance of the whole game, which was lovely play. We had Forrest again. We had lovely wee bits interchanging centrally. By the way, I know Ange used to love just to hit the wings. Centrally, these wee passing goes, 1 touch and 2, and just like the game against Bilbao, we scored that Bernabeu scored that brilliant goal. Similar, 1 touch and getting through. Loads of chances. We could have scored 7 or 8 the other night.
Totally agree with that.
I just feel like it's a bit down.
To sum it up, I said it during the game. To sum up the game, in my opinion, how it was, Celtic as a team played how Bernabeu plays. Really good going forward, suspect defensive.
Right, we're going to bring it defensively, right? Obviously, flash points in the game. We got our own penalty kick, which Turnbull put away neatly. Should Ross County have had a penalty, John? We've seen, obviously, was a big debate in the studio at half-time with Sky Sports. Ralston played a dodgy pass back. I don't know, Carter Vickers or Joe Hart, but Joe Hart chested it. Simon Murray, their striker, got a toe on it. Chris Boyd, funny enough, said he committed to the challenge.
Well, I can tell you right off the bat,
what do you
I
think?
will not agree with anything.
No, I get that, but what do you think? Should have been a
No,
penalty?
it should have been a penalty.
Just straight up, no.
No.
What about you, Willie?
I mean, there was nothing in it.
There was only one. I think I might be wrong because I was pulling pints at half time, but I think Boyd was the only one in the
Yeah.
studio that said it was a penalty.
And of course he did.
I think that tells everything it needs to.
Yeah.
Because he's
By
a
the way, I think
bitter-
in real time I was like, oh Jesus, but looking it back, and obviously Joe Hart's proper suspect. I missed that. And obviously Joe Hart was a wee bit suspect, but he could have done better. But I don't even think there's contact, to be honest with you.
Nah, I know. Again, it was just one of the flashpoints of the game, but definitely was the penalty kick, and you know Chris Boyd is going to play the blue side. He already predicted early on that Rangers are going to win the league. He's mad. But Corville came in there earlier on. Turnbull's going to fry. Again, I can see it happening.
I've said that previously as well. We can see it happening.
A big statement leaving the Tatty out. But we'll come on to the O'Reilly goal.
Oh,
and wasn't it sexy?
Oh.
It was pure sexy. Well, I mean, I have to start with Willie here. Kyogo getting involved again, a lovely kind of corner pass, and it was a brilliant finish, wasn't it? That's a great bit.
Was that we talked to the chip?
Yeah.
It's just that it's Kyogo's ball pass through that makes everything. And it's players like that change games. There's not many players in this league, if any, and if there is, there's only a handful, and they play with Celtic that can play a pass like that. The way he's nicked it around the corner, and I thought O'Reilly taken too long. And I know it's his bad foot and he's absolutely rifled into the roof of the net, but it's what you're talking about with Kyogo. He's kind of come in deep and he's played that pass, which is just like, if Messi was doing that, I'd be all over social media talking about how he's the greatest in the world. The pass is magic, so O'Reilly actually needed to finish it because of the pass. He'd been out of order if he didn't. Absolutely tremendous goal, and that's what I'm talking about. How I'm doing the DJ hands again. Who was it that said that?
Michael.
Was it Michael?
Wasn't it Michael? That's what I was talking about. How now I'm conscious of the horns. Now I'm conscious of the horns. What was I saying? I can't remember what I was saying now. I've done a Ross.
But see
give Ross his brain back.
See, to be fair as well, Franny, you looked at that goal. If you switched it back to the Bilbao game, it was a bit like that passage of play with Burnaby, O'Reilly getting involved, that kind of intricate passing. Kyogo coming deep for this one, playing the round the corner pass. And that, for me personally, I thought O'Reilly took too long. And I was like, oh no, he's not going to finish this. But it was a great goal. And like you actually said as well, I mean, common sensory, and obviously Postecoglou like the wings and that sort of stuff.
That's right.
Just that intricate passing one. It was great.
It was good because, like you says, Kyogo's made that run to come sort of deeper to pick up the ball and stuff, and he needs like your O'Reilly's or the wingers at the time to then come into that space where he's sort of clear, because obviously him coming out, like we spoke pre-match, he's got to bring defenders out to positions to then it frees up that space. So if O'Reilly doesn't make that run, then Kyogo's run looks pointless because he's just made a run for nothing at the end of the day. So he's obviously made the pass. I think we're all in agreement thinking he taken too long, but it's obviously one of the ones he knows it's on his bad foot. He's just trying to steady himself, and I think that's maybe one of the reasons he's absolutely rifled it as well. Just thought, well, I'm not going to try and caress it in like what he normally does with his left.
The ball.
I'll just get some leather on it and just absolutely scalp it. And it was an absolute beauty of a goal, and it kind of. I don't know. I think I've had a whirly moment. I
think the number 10 in Rodgers' team is going to be totally different to a number 10 in Andrew's team.
William Ross sitting together.
Who's the Basham brothers?
Used to
It's better than Phil and fucking Grant.
It must have been nails.
By the way, you will be getting fucking tag team later, don't you, bastard? Then I think the number 10 role. And I think that's why Rodgers likes Turnbull, because he's got an eye for goal when he gets beyond the striker. It looks like to me like, and we've all there at Hans again. He likes Kyogo because he's on the shoulder like Vardy, but when he comes deep, he wants that run and beyond. And Turnbull did that plenty today. O'Reilly did it today. Hatate is more than capable of doing it as well. I think these sort of guys are going to get much more goals this season than they did under Rodgers.
I think what might help Turnbull as well is like he slows the game down, which I think can be a good thing as well.
He does slow the
And
game.
that's Rodgers' style. I said weeks ago, by the way, that I think. Now, listen, I'm not saying David Turnbull's better.
Fucking Mystic Meg here.
No, I'm not saying David Turnbull's better than that. But I said a couple of weeks ago that David Turnbull could quite easily be It's quite easy staring at me. Really close in the eye there. David Turnbull could quite easily be Brendan Rodgers' Armstrong the first time around. He's got all the attributes to be as good as a. Aye, he needs to be a bit more mobile, but as that his game, like Frankie says, he slows it down. I don't think David Turnbull's a number 8 in a million years.
No.
But he played number 8 for most part of the day, and he played it really well.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And John, coming already, Patrick McLaughlin, this was a well-known thing last season. His goal tally wasn't great, but his assists were up there with the top in the league. But you look at it for O'Reilly, it's a new lease of life under Rodgers, and he already said it early on that he likes the style of management. He likes the style of management in terms of being able to approach him and stuff at lunch. I know that's kind of thing, but he likes that kind of arm around him, and maybe he needed that last season. And Postecoglou probably didn't give him that kind of love, do you know what I mean? But can you see O'Reilly being a key player for
I
us?
think that O'Reilly's was just as key last season as well. I mean, there's more 8 than just goals, right? There's still a lot of stuff.
Ross is fucking running a bath in there.
Aye.
Ross is running a bath.
In case that microphone picks anything up. But, I mean, come back to what you said. O'Reilly, I think O'Reilly is, like Turnbull, is somebody that can be revitalised under Rodgers. And I think there's a few other guys in the team that could probably be in the same sort of vein. But I don't think O'Reilly was, I mean, like you said,
he scored more than one goal last year, surely.
He scored.
I think he
Two,
scored.
maybe two.
No, he scored more than that.
I'm pretty sure it was a wee bit more than that. In any case,
surely.
Michael, we're not going to comment on it.
He's running a bath, Michael.
He's washing his hands.
Oh, Jesus.
And I said,
Oh, sorry. Right,
but sorry. I think that he's going to have a big season this year, O'Reilly, and we all know he's capable because we've done it. We've seen
If
it
he
before.
doesn't come out of there with a hairnet and a towel around the waist, then I'm fucking packing up and going home.
John, what were you saying?
What was I saying? O'Reilly. I think he's going to have a big season under Rodgers, and I think Turnbull's going to be very much the same. And you've seen the day, like the way both of them can play really well together. I mean, no, he's touched on it.
But the two number 10s.
The 2 10s, and I was thinking maybe before that's never going to work. But I think they link up really, really well, and they offer us something different. And I think Rodgers is going to be. We've always said it before as well. When Rodgers first in, like Rodgers can bring the best out of a player, and players come on leaps and bounds under a manager like that. So I think O'Reilly and the likes of Turnbull are going to benefit greatly by having Rodgers.
Absolutely. By the way, I think I like. We talked about how Calmac plays. Calmac can play any position of the 3 in the midfield and fucking on any wing, and pretty much anywhere in the park. But I think the same with O'Reilly. I think he can play 8, 10, 6.
So they can play the 6.
He can play, and he's fit as he can run for 90 minutes non-stop.
Well, right, that's but I think it's quite telling.
He's crying.
I'm crying. I'm sorry. But
yes.
But genuinely, right?
He's actually crying.
Oh my god! Right. So obviously, already with them comments, do you think it will bring the best out of them? Obviously, you said it before previously in one of the podcasts we've done, different style of management, but getting the best out of him, I think is a great sign for us, isn't it?
Yeah. I kind of talked about in the pre-pod about how Ange. There's very little that he did that I would disagree with, but again, another one would be that I think one of the reasons Giacomakis left is because I don't want to say dictatorship because that's a bit harsh, but he's a proper disciplinarian, and if you don't like it, you can do one. Whereas for me as a manager, there's players that do need that, they need a boot up the arse, but there's also players that need an arm on the shoulder, and
a wee bit of motivation.
And I think Rodgers can do both. I mean, the comments that O'Reilly said in pre-season hit the nail on the head, where he said we're all sitting having lunch and the gaffer came and sat down and asked about our families and all the rest of it. And I think that personal touch, for me personally, if I was a player, that would make me want to fight more for my manager. So you'll see these sort of things. But forget all that personal stuff. As a coach, first and foremost, he's one of the best, and he'll get guys like that firing. I say that the first time round, Forrest was everybody's weapon boy when Rodgers first came in, and he turned him into an absolute monster. And I've got a feeling he'll do the same with the likes of Abada and O'Reilly's and all the rest of it. And O'Reilly's going to be massive for us this coming season, I think.
And it's not just that, it's guys we've already got as well that you're already maybe seen as established, like Hatate and stuff like that. I think that every player in that team can move up a level under the likes of Rodgers. And that's no slant on Ange, because we know Ange was a great manager, but he wasn't the same sort of manager that Rodgers is. So
very one-dimensional. He's sort of
he's like very football focused.
If it doesn't work with you, I'll get somebody else in. Whereas Rodgers will
Rodgers
be
like, Rodgers thrives on trying to make them better than that.
So I think every player in that team, and not just an O'Reilly and a Turnbull, but even like a Kyogo and a Hatate and all these guys can take it up another level, because Rodgers will find something else in the game that he can sort of work with and just sort of bring it up. So I think having him on board is going to be fantastic. And as the season sort of goes on, you'll start seeing it.
Right.
And the thing with Kyogo as well, for me, if he's... See, for me, a lot of the time last year, it sounds ridiculous saying it because he scored fucking about 120 goals last season, right? But when they play when Ange was there and they played that low line, like defensive,
low block,
11 men behind the ball, as John would say, Kyogo, for me, that kind of nullified a lot of his qualities because Ange likes him to play in the shoulder, whereas what I've seen today, I don't think it matters what sort of tactics another team's going to play against us. Kyogo's always going to be involved in the game.
And Kyogo coming short like that, I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but Harry Kane started to play that sort of false number 10, false 9 into number 10 role for Tottenham. I'm not saying he's got to come as deep as that, but sometimes when it's not really working, if Kyogo's coming deep like that, it draws the defenders out because they have to go and mark him. He gets the ball in and he maybe plays that wee ball over the top like he did today. And
that's what I'm saying about
that's what he said.
Absolutely.
I think Corville come in there and said we need to interact with players and understand their strengths and weaknesses. And that kind of sums that up. Rodgers kind of plays off the emotion, plays off the way they feel, and also boosts his ego if he improves a player.
And by the way, seeing time when he works like over a longer period of time with these players, he'll understand them more. They'll understand him more. He'll be able to coach them better, and you'll see Celtic improving on what we watched today.
Yeah, 100%.
100%. I think that's pretty obvious stuff.
Imagine improving on a team that's just scored 4 goals and run away with a game.
Right,
at least we'll maybe win 4-0 the next time.
Obviously, we scored 4, right? They scored 2. We'll come on to their second goal here.
Heartful.
Was it? No, genuinely, obviously, it was a deep cross in.
Sounds Simon Jordan says to
I missed the goal. I wasn't in a fish.
There was a deep cross into the box. Their players kind of piled on the 6-yard line. Joe Hart was in no man's land. The defence didn't clear it. Franny, I'll start with you this one. Should Joe Hart command his area better? Because me personally, I think I'm on my keeper grabbing that. Like
for the second goal.
No, for their goal.
For the first.
For Ross County's goal. What goal am I on about?
You're talking about the first one.
But you're on about the
you're talking about the first one, for the corner.
The corner.
That's how I was going.
Sorry, the first
how was Joe Hart no man's land the second goal? Sorry.
Apologies, people.
It's a really good corner in. I've tried and then Ross County have done well to kind of keep Celtic pretty much camped about a yard or 2 outside for the goal line. I think Ross County is a set piece. If you look at it from Ross County's point of view, it's really good. The header, it's a good header. It's a nice looping header. I'm not saying he totally meant to score for it. I don't know if he's just trying to loop it back across and keep it kind of alive. Joe Hart, I do think, is caught in no man's land, but then I don't even know if there is much he can do regardless. I think he gets caught under the ball and stuff like that. But when you actually look at the corner, kind of try and take the emotion out of it and stuff, I don't really think there's much he can do.
Nah, I would agree with that.
It doesn't look. It doesn't cover his.
I would.
I don't think he covers his own glory. Like it is totally in no man's land, but I don't really know how much he can do for you.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly, because what do you expect him to do? Because that ball goes out towards the
I think it's a great corner.
He follows the ball, sustain. He can't get there, sustain your line.
I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. I think he's.
But if he sees his line, he's still not saving that.
I don't think he's then stopping it.
More of a chance.
He's got more of a chance.
I think you're Danielle Neils. That's like target of the heart. They know if you put him under pressure, he folds.
I don't even think he was targeted, Daniel. It's a case of like
he's been pinned a wee bit by the Sorry, John.
I mean, no, I was just, and I probably the same sort of point. I mean, the Dundee players set up very, very close, very close to the goal line. They surrounded
Ross
him.
Yeah.
Ross County, sorry.
This podcast is a fucking shambles.
I've already corrected myself, Steve, thank you.
Play Dundee, Ross is passing.
So, I mean, the way they set up kind of left it for a wee bit of a problem, and it was a case of like the ball got, as I say, the ball got floated out at the back, right, the back post. Hart's positioned himself in case anything sort of comes in that side, so he's moved over to his near post on this side, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's left a gap at the back. What annoyed me the most about that is because the ball was so high and it was looking like you said. I don't think there was much Hart could have done about it. But the fact that the weakest person on the fucking park was the person at that post. At that point, somebody else should have moved in there.
Stopping that goal, the header back across back the way it goes in.
I mean, it's hard. It's all right for us to sit and say, "Oh, nobody stopped it" or whatever.
No, I mean the header back across. I don't think you chuck any defender on that. I think Peter Crouch is stopping that for going in, just the way it goes in. But I think Hart should.
Because he was a striker, not a keeper.
But Kyogo was in.
What I'm saying is, though, is regardless of what happened, the only person on that back post was Kyogo, and he's the weakest player on the park.
Right. But then you're going to ask Kyogo to man mark somebody.
But I mean,
Generally,
as soon as that ball went floated over the tap, somebody like a Vickers or something, somebody with a wee bit more height should have just kind of moved in.
Listen, I think Hart follows the ball, he gets caught under it.
Ross.
Poor goalkeeping. Okay, he gets pinned a wee bit, but then he follows the ball.
Ross, see before you make a point, I do want to come to a kind of double here so you can give your opinion on it. Danielle said he is awful. We will ban the Champions League group if Hart is a goal. Corvo, like you said there, Hart moves like Pat Butcher now. I can see it as decline in movement and speed. The goal for me, as you said, I thought he should have stayed in his line. Would have been a far better chance.
Not so much staying in his line.
Again, but do you think this debate kind of rages on? But do we need a new keeper?
Yes.
Well,
I think for Europe,
right. Well,
depends
in my opinion, I think you look if you're looking at when Ange took over, right? When Ange took over and we got Hart in, we had to get Hart in. It was an emergency. It was an absolute. It was an emergency the season before. We got Hart in. He's done a job for us. I don't think it's an emergency now, but what are we laughing at here? By the way, it's not far off it. I don't think it's an emergency now, but for me, listen, you look at Livakovic, I've said it a million times. If we can get him if we can get him for £8 million, that is a deal that you do. It is the best and most important, but it's the best deal in the transfer window if we get him in the door at £8 million. But at the same time, it's a difficult position to fill. If you can't get that guy and you're just not blind, because that's not how Celtic their policy has been. Blind to us, we would maybe be a bit apprehensive with a keeper that came in. But if Celtic believe that he's the guy they're bringing in, whoever it may be, is better than Joe Hart, do the deal. Absolutely. But at the same time, keep Joe Hart there because he is the next best option. But then again, at the same time, I think what Danielle says, we'll finish bottom of Group F. I don't think Joe Hart will be the reason Celtic finish bottom of Group F. We don't know who we're going to get yet. Once we see who we're going to get, listen, it could be PSG, Bayern Munich, and fucking Barcelona. It could quite easily be with the way the pot's going. Not exactly that, but it could be a really difficult. Or you could get a favourable, I say, you know what I mean? But Celtic not getting out of group won't just be because of Joe Hart. It'll be because of the quality team we're playing.
I totally agree.
You can't just lay that at Joe Hart's door. That is very harsh and unfair.
I think the whole how do you say it, Livakovic?
Livakovic.
Making sure. Livakovic. Again, it's just all rumour mill stuff. There's nothing concrete there. So I think the clamour against Hart is because that's in the back of everybody's minds. Why aren't we going to sign him? There might not even be talks. It's just all rumour mill. Everybody's in agreement that if there's opportunity there and we need to splash a bit of cash, we've got it. Go and get him. And I guarantee you, I would be willing to bet my mortgage that the board and Nicholson and all the rest of them think the exact same, and if the opportunity is there, they'll get him. But that might not be the case, and Joe Hart's not the reason. He'll not be the reason behind. See the mistake. For example, that mistake, that back pass to him. Everything is so scrutinised because of his position.
Yeah.
If that's Calmack in the middle of the park, nobody even notices that back pass that he's miscontrolled and the boy's got in. But because he's the keeper, it's happening, and that's the case. There's no for me in the league, in our league anyway, and there's no many shot stoppers better than him. Yes, I totally agree that there's a mistake in him, and I think his distribution, he can be dodgy. Much like I said with Starfelt, that when the ball comes to him, it's like a hot tatty at times, and it's like, shit, I need to get rid of this, and there is like an anxiety there. Totally agree. And can we improve? 100% we can improve. But it's not as easy as going, I'll just get a better keeper, because it's no. That's like what Ross is saying. It's not just somebody. You can't just go down to Bathgate Market and go, I need a better keeper than Joe Hart. By the way, no bother. I've got 2 through the back for you. It doesn't work like that.
Rogers tried that the first time.
I was just going to say that. Craig Gordon, you got
exactly.
But
on for it. You don't like Craig Gordon wasn't the best with the ball at his feet.
No,
Brendan Rodgers won 2 trebles with Craig Gordon.
But I do want to come to the comments here, because
maybe need to watch what we're asking for. Rodgers to come get a keeper.
Joe Hart kind of divides opinion. Clark family, Happening lads, pints of lovely. And also as well, there's new faces, there's new names in the challenge minutes. So subscribe, share us around. I mean, we're trying to grow. Corvo.
Oh no!
Heart is slow like the Trotters. Freewheel van.
That's a fucking
Had my Joe Hart in my mouth when he made mistakes early. Daniel kind of go back to the Champions League last year. We had a faithful group apart from Madrid, and he was a fault for the majority of goals along the left side.
Leipzig were the top 4 German side.
Coming up boring out of retirement.
I think Joe Hart suffered
for Daniel last season was a season too much for Joe Hart. That 2-2 game at Mordor. He is the one that mucks up and then legs then back into the game. Yeah,
I get a bit of opinions by you.
Go ahead.
Daniel, I don't think anybody would disagree that Hearts had games where he's maybe not performed at his best, but that goes for anybody. Do you know what I mean? Even the world's best keepers have nightmares. But for the most part, he's done a job and he's done what he needed to do. It's difficult to sort of gauge him entirely, because when you're going up against the likes in the Champions League and stuff like that, like we've already touched on, it's not just the keeper's fault. You've got 10 other players on the park. And they all play a part in that, and it's difficult. I don't think Hart's a bad keeper. He's getting on a bit, and we do need to bring a new keeper in, and I fully understand and I accept that, and I agree with that. And I think that if we want to sort of proceed and compete in Europe and take that next sort of step, then that's probably one of the bigger or likely sort of moves that we need to make. But he's not a horrible keeper, and I think he gets targeted quite a lot because his age or whatever, but I don't think it's warranted.
And by the way, you look at it, you look at it as well, right? Like, from the budget Celtic have got, right, and the level they want to compete at, Livakovic is there if we can get him, right? But we're not definitely going to get him, right?
Totally.
But then you look at teams like Chelsea, they've got a bigger budget than us, and they want to compete at a higher level as because they've got a bigger budget, not because they're a bigger club, but they want to compete at a higher level. Look at the trouble they've had in the last 5-6 years at trying to get a keeper that allows them to compete at that level. Look at Tottenham. Okay, they've had Lloris, but he's starting to show his age.
But they've replaced Lloris.
With who?
Not the new keeper.
This season. But I'm talking about the seasons before. They've been calling for that for a couple of years, but they've not done it because it's no easy just to go out and get.
Is it a priority? Is it a priority?
It's not a priority. It's not an emergency. But if we can get somebody better, it's something to look at.
I'm with John.
Kyogo goes through one-on-one with a keeper and doesn't score. Nobody talks about it at the end of the game. Everybody still thinks he's brilliant. But Joe Hart makes a mistake, but still pulls off 4 brilliant saves. Nobody talks about the 4 saves. They talk about the mistake.
I think every keeper's guilty.
Of course.
Not guilty of that. Sorry, they're always going to, because it's usually going to end up in a goal where a striker's got the chance to. Kyle goes through one-on-one, misses it. He's probably got to get another chance to redeem that, and Poco will care. Whereas a goalkeeper, it's a goal.
But Joe could still pull off 3 saves, and nobody talks about the 3 saves. They talk about the mistake.
I thought John was bang on in what he said. Like, do I think we should go and get another keeper if there's one out there? 100%. Joe Hart for me is not going to cost us a league.
But
So they
Aye.
cost us in Europe? I don't know, because it's like we say, we don't know the group. It's
Aye.
without the benefit of
Yeah.
hindsight, you don't know how he's got to compete in Europe. I would be more confident with maybe a different, also a better goalkeeper. It sounds silly saying that in Europe, but I think maybe Joe Hart as well is a wee bit guilty of what the Taylor treatment a few years ago, where everybody assumed Taylor was a bad. I mean, I was guilty of it as well. Just thought Taylor was rotten, and then anything he done wrong, I was on it. And I think that's the problem with Joe Hart. You're waiting on him to do something wrong to jump on him.
100%.
And I think
Aye.
Taylor was. I mean, I was
100%.
guilty doing that with Taylor. Saying it didn't matter, a bad pass, oh, he's rotten.
Any
By the
player
way,
in the team
you're
could
going
cost us
subconsciously,
the
you're
game.
waiting on him to do something.
Absolutely,
He is.
100%
I
spot
get
on,
that.
because we could win a game 6-0, but Joe Hart would have a situation like he did where that boys went through and it ended up being a corner. Nobody would talk about the 6-0, everybody would talk about Joe Hart and making that mistake.
Yeah, no,
There's-
but can I put something there?
Aye, Costi.
Right, so we're seeing in the second half, Ross Laidlaw made a double save for Ross County.
Good saves.
Good, brilliant
They
saves,
also
good
let them
reactions,
score goals.
but great reactions. We're isolating this event. We're not talking about the 4 goals he conceded.
I'm ready for this.
Would Joe Hart make them saves?
Yep.
No,
He made it at the
no,
end
he
of
wouldn't.
last season.
No, but
A
he,
See,
double
I bet,
save
like,
at the end of last season at
I
home.
think
He done it
Joe
last
Hart-
season, the tail end of last season. I can't
No,
remember.
he
It was
did.
like he did.
He
It
did.
was
He
a
done one against
double
Hearts as
save,
well.
and
I
everybody.
think it was against Hearts.
It was right at the end of last season. Double save. Near right to make it. Joe Hart made it.
So Joe Hart's got
as
away,
well.
like against was it the German team as well. Like
Unbelievable save in the
everybody's
Europa League.
gone. Joe Hart's never really made us save what we
No,
thought.
He's giving us a whole fucking anxiety.
Daniel Stewart, I agree 100% with you,
But
Daniel.
everybody's
Why
gone.
don't you two use
Joe
your
Hart's-
room?
Anybody.
Joe Hart wouldn't make. Joe Hart's not made a save that he shouldn't have made, and it's like, well, how do you? A footballer looking back at every goal he's
Aye.
conceded, you can't honestly say Joe Hart's not made a save.
There's
Of
any
course he's
there's
made great
any player at
saves.
any level in that team could cost us in the Champions League. Joe Hart could make a shite pass out for the back, right? Carter Vickers could make a shite pass out for the back. David Turnbull could lose the ball in midfield, and just like that, in a second, you're punished at that
Point in
level.
case, point in case,
Anybody.
yeah, point in case, Robson's pass was fucking shite today back to him, and who we're talking about?
Aye, don't
Yeah,
Joe
well,
Hart.
yeah.
Terrible pass.
Yeah, he's making some sense. You're making some
I need to do this. I need to do this.
Robson just looks one over Carter Vickers.
No, just
Deal with that, Joe.
I need to do
I've
this
just
now.
passed the ball.
I need to do this for not me off. That's it. That's what we came up talking about when I do that.
we talk about that too. Not only that, we played some unbelievable, scintillating football today.
And here we are.
Brilliant attacking football, and the majority of this podcast has talked about how Joe Hart's
Aye.
pitch when he.
No,
I
I
don't
wouldn't say
think
the majority. I wouldn't say the majority. We're discussing. We're discussing-
We've been on for about half an hour.
We're
We're talking
discussing-
about Joe Hart for
we're
fucking
discussing-
20 minutes.
We're discussing
He's
the
run a
goal.
bath.
I've had 4 pints. I'm getting to the square go stage.
Right, we'll move on. Obviously, move on from Joe Hart. It kind of caused a bit of divide in there. And the other news I want to talk about, obviously covering the goals and that, but we didn't know. Obviously, we're doing the post-match stuff or pre-match stuff. Sorry, before we go back
Stephen
to
doesn't
that.
come with that.
I know it's mind-boggling to me. But John, apparently Rogers confirmed that Starfelt was on the bench because he could potentially be leaving the club. Do you think if that happens, we would need to sign another centre half of that quality?
Well, we said that. We
Yeah.
said that in the pre-match before we read
But we
that.
didn't know that. Like,
No, I know, but
time.
we did touch on it, and we says, look, if it is a case of Starfelt leaving, then we definitely need to bring in a centre half. And I even said I would bring in one anyway, just in case. So you need that. You need that backup.
CCV reminds me of Paul Elliott. That's a great shout.
Go and get
Yeah,
I would just go and
definitely.
get Julian.
Just go get Julian. Just get
Just go
Julian.
and get him.
What you are looking at? Just go
See,
get him.
but you're right. If it is a case that obviously he was on the bench today because there's a potential situation now where he's going to get signed by another team, then I'd like to think that we've got something in place or something's in the work where we're signing another centre half because it needs to happen.
No,
And again, Noroki's just in the door, right? And it's hard to sort of say whether he can sort of cement his place. But like I said, if you lose a player, you always need to get somebody in who is better than, because you want to progress and move forward, right? So I'm not saying that
No done that with Jota, by the way.
Norocki. Well, we don't know that yet.
Hold on, you said Yang's going to be John.
He's going to be the new Jota. I never say he's going to be better.
Because well, just touching on that, Yang could be every bit as good as Jota. We don't know. He's not had enough game time,
Right.
and time will tell. When Tellio comes, 2 minutes. when Tellio comes,
There's
when
Tony,
Tellio
yeah.
gets some game time, and we see
He opened a
Tellio,
lot, you funny.
I'm trying. When Tellio comes and he starts getting some game time,
That's
then
Tony.
it might be a situation where Tellio's like Tellio's the guy. We don't know yet. We need to wait and see.
That's true. Look, that behind you, Tony. Tony's in trip.
Tony's just joined
Let's
us,
swap.
guys.
We've got a
Anthony,
squad
my
there.
old son. Good
Is
to
there room? Is there room?
Aye.
Room at the end. Room at the end.
Oh, you're right,
Smash
man. How
up.
you doing?
I just.
How you doing?
So Tony's got his orange jacket on.
Aye,
Celtic game.
aye. How we doing, boys?
Right, John, as you were.
Aye, so shut up a bit. So I agree. If Starfelt's definitely, if that news is right, and Starfelt is probably seemingly new at the door, then we need to sign a centre half. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Anthony, come to yourself. Obviously, rap again.
Signs
us back in for the tail end.
I just had my dad driving like something like Grand Theft Auto on the M8 there to get back in time for this.
What was the game like being there?
Well, before the game, absolutely brilliant. It,
Never walk along sounded.
it was
epic, mate.
absolutely fantastic and great reception for our prodigal manager as well, mate. I have to say, I was absolutely delighted to get that. And you know what I'm always like. Sometimes I've got a love-hate relationship, but I've got to have to say kudos to all the ultra groups today. Brilliant tifo displays. And I've obviously caught some of my signal was going on the M8 a little bit, but I got the early point of the show when he came back on there, and I do agree. First 10-15 minutes, it was a wee bit all over the place, to be perfectly honest. But once we got the penalty, and David Turnbull stuck it away perfectly. After that, it was pretty plain sailing. I mean, there was a lot of that's what a lot of the guys were saying at half time. We're going, it was a wee bit slow the day. It's not quite as good. And then I'm, in the rear going, do realise we're up 3-0 here, boys. You know what I mean? It's
going to be slower than that.
Exactly.
It's possession football.
Absolutely.
You're
Brendan's style, you're absolutely right, is a little less gung ho than what Angie's was, but by the same point, no less ruthless. And it was just a great day to be there. I missed it. I've not seen Ross County's second goal because we were already in the card by that point. But we did hear. But when I heard that Joe Hart had lost 2 goals, I thought, my God, Stephen's going to be apoplectic.
But here, I don't know if you heard.
Daniel.
I don't know if you heard the news. Anthony Rogers kind of confirmed that Starfelt wasn't in the squad or wasn't in the team because he could be leaving. But do you think a big news? We didn't know, obviously doing the pre-match stuff. But do you think we need to sign another centre half of that quality?
If he's going, then absolutely. I think that's just what John was saying there when we came in. There's you can't just. I mean, and to be fair to how do you pronounce his? Is it Narovki? Right. Well, but he had a good game today. I felt pretty steady at the back. But you can't just. It can't just be like for like. If he is Starfelt's replacement, but we've spoken about this in the group chat and on the shows about having to add to the team now in terms of quality. So if Starfelt leaves, you absolutely have to bring another guy in. Absolutely. I think Liam Scales had a brilliant pre-season, to be fair, but yeah, you can't just go with Naroki and CCV. You have to invest.
Is anybody devastated that Starfelt could be leaving?
Nah,
I'm a wee bit gutted because I like him.
I'm devastated.
You were
if we
going
don't
to
bring
agree
somebody
with
in.
Yes, I think that. I share Ross's opinion.
Every time we did a podcast last year and Stephen said to me, if you could strengthen anywhere, where would you strengthen? I always said it was that left centre back.
But the issue is, have we strengthened?
If Starfelt goes,
like as Ange did, have we strengthened? I know that obviously all came in after Giacomakis.
From the little that I've seen from the Rocky,
I think he's on it.
It looks like a like for me, but I still do. I agree with everybody. I think we could be doing with bringing in more.
100%.
That was more devastating than the camera.
Me too.
We all know that. I agree, mate.
And to be fair, I'd be fucking off as well if it meant that I get back closer to that.
But it depends where he goes.
I know.
He goes to Saudi. It's
Scottish Sporting.
But I think this is Phil comes in. Kobayashi still there. So Ross, where does that leave him? What is he going to go up the pack and
That's one of the problems.
Well, listen, Kobayashi is on the ball, a good player.
No.
Rogers likes a ball playing centre half. As did Ange. I think.
He could be.
Is he better than Stephen Welsh or Scales on the ball? Possibly. Certainly, maybe distribution. But is he a better defender than any two of them right now? I don't think so.
There's no better defender than Starfelt as well.
Do you think that Welsh?
Definitely
Do you not think that? Because for me, every time Welsh has come in, he's not done much wrong. And I think people kind of maybe underestimate him a wee bit as well. I'm not saying I would go to a Champions League game wanting him at centre half, but do you think that he gets a bit more flack than he should?
Who?
Welsh.
He's shy.
Pigeonholed, if you will.
Welsh is if we're going to pin our hopes on Welsh, nah. No.
No, I don't think you should pin your hopes
on.
on.
Hear what I
But I
just
think
said.
I heard what you said, but to me, he's
Oh, it doesn't
not
sound
good
like you're
enough.
fucking
He's
firing.
not good enough, man.
I would be okay with Stephen Mills being in our squad because I
It's just like the
think
Christmas party. all
Domestic-
over.
domestically could maybe
They're
fill
up,
in if you need
sure.
them domestically. I think Stephen Mills. I think
We're
he's
going to be
comfortable
on a
enough.
wee bit, yeah.
Huh?
I'm going to need to switch places with Franny so I can follow the pints because we're going to be on for a wee bit yet.
I will
I
go
don't
ahead.
know, I milk it though, am
I do. I'm just in.
I?
But
Do some hosting.
I'm doing host of your movie.
I
Like
do
that.
want to just go back to that point though, because Phil
What
was
do
at the
you
point.
think,
Kobayashi's there, right? Kobayashi he's still. Do you know what? It's hard to sort of say whether or not he's going to be the person that's capable. Eyes there, is it? But you touched on it. Is he a better defender than Starfield? No. And at this stage, you would have to say you need to strengthen at that position, right? The centre half, because you need to. If Starfield leaves, you need to bring in somebody as good as or better if you want to progress. You can't pin your hopes on guys that have come in and they're still a bit raw and you're still not entirely sure about because it might not work. And then you're left, if the window shuts, then you're left for another 5-6 months, whatever it is, with that sort of that gap in the defence. So if Starfield leaves in the next week or so, then we should be in the market looking for a replacement immediately and making sure that we're set just in case. And so that extra competition for places as well, I think the guys all need that.
No, totally. I
Sorry,
think Joe Hart's maybe guilty of that a wee bit, like, or felt guilty of not having that competition because I didn't think Seagrass and Bain are really pushing them on.
But see, when you're bringing that defender, what you're talking about, bringing the defender in, it doesn't need to be a household name, but it needs to be a guy that's sort of maybe 25, 26, 27, sort
Ideally,
of established, experienced. You know, I'm not wanting to see another 21-year-old Kobayashi coming in. Might be good, might not be. I want to see somebody, and I know that Rocky's 22. He looks like he could be a good player, that sort of fee, but somebody that's played in European football has got that experience. He's got the experience of actual European football, not just playing in Europe.
Yeah.
And he's that sort of bit more established in his own team than now, but he's going to that next level where he's maybe 24, 25,
No chance,
26, and then he's going to go into the next
Well,
level,
can
which
I
is
say-
Celtic.
Can I say something? Going by
You
what,
should, it's your
I hope
host.
so. Going by what Roger's saying at his press conference, it sounded like the main Rockies are straight replacement for Starfield. He was
But
pretty.
then
He was pretty clear at that point where he said the recruitment.
But I think that's fair.
By the way-
Narocki's
But he didn't
Starfield's
he-
replacement, I think.
Yeah, the sales was a great player, but out of our price range, I think.
Nah, I wouldn't think that's it.
I think the sales.
Nah.
Not even if they want
Anthony,
to
you wrap the game obviously, and you're only back, right? With your
I'm
goodie
back
bags
to
and
that,
that.
see.
But
Something in there for your little girl, I have to say. You know.
but
you like.
we're looking at it, right? We've talked about replacements. Yang's come in, possibly replacing for Yada. What does he look like in the flesh?
Well, again, as I say, due to my eagerness to get here with you boys, I done that sin of leaving at 80 minutes a day, boys. So I only seen about I think it came on between the 65, 75 minute mark. The couple of times where he did get a bit of a run at the ball, it looked very fast. I have to say, he looked like he's got a lot of pace about him. Nothing really came of the attacks that at that point where he was getting on the ball. But he did he looks pretty exciting, I have to say. I mean, obviously, Jota is big shoes to fill, like you say, Stephen. But there's no reason to suggest why he can't do it. I think one of the big things where a lot of we're saying we're weaker or stronger, or if we plateaued in this transfer window, all of the guys that we've brought in for the fees that we've paid for, that a lot of saying, are they going to be as good as Jota? Only time will tell, of course. But one thing we can say, Ross is talking there about wanting to bring in a centre half with that kind of experience. Every player that we've brought in, whether it be the two South Korean boys or Telio, all have more first team experience than what Jota did when we brought him in originally. He was still very much in Benfica reserves at that point. So that's not to say that they're going to be they are the like for like replacement for Jota, not by any stretch of any imagination. But all I'll say is for the guys that I seen today and for what I've seen off on Tuesday night as well, the players that were brought in look very promising. And I know this isn't the question you asked me, Stephen, but
wasn't the question
I've got big hopes for. I've always banged the drum for him since he came into Celtic. Listen, I've got a hell of a lot of opinions about Bernabei, as you know. But he had a good game on Tuesday, I have to say. But in terms of I think he's going to be a big player for us this season.
Can I say something about the whole Yang Jota thing, right?
Yeah.
See, as much as we talk about, and myself included, about Yang is going to be the next Jota and all the rest of it, and we talk about, John mentioned it earlier about how when we're bringing somebody in, it needs to be a calibre better than whoever you've lost or whatever, or somebody on par with that, right? For me, Abada's going to get more goals this season than Jota did, right? Possibly up there with assists as well. So I don't necessarily think we need that replacement for Jota, because I think Abada could be that man anyway. It could be about just bringing, like what I think we've brought in, somebody in there that's going to fill in, like a Bernabei for Taylor, 25% of the time over the season. 25% of the time in the season when we're wanting to rest or whatever. Because I think Abada's going to be massive for us this season. I think
it doesn't have to be. Basically, what you're saying, it doesn't have to be a like for like for
Jota, no, because
Abada will bring the type of numbers.
And by the way, Abada played. He must have played 40% of games last season, and he was like a third top goal scorer or something like that.
He got like 11 goals.
He'll be no far behind Kyogo for goals this season.
That's
I thought Super saying at the start when I did the stats, Celtic were the highest goal scorers in European football, top 5 for top 10 leagues.
Last year, came up
above Man City and the likes.
Imagine what it would have been
like if Tati was interested.
But see, to be fair, you've run us nicely on that Tati. Obviously, it was a big thing. Obviously, we spoke about it pre-match. Turnbull came in for him. Where do you see his future in terms of Rio?
Well, I know you guys have obviously. I've been off for the last 2 weeks on my summer holidays, mate. But I have been tuning into the show. I know the kind of the view is that we're waiting on to see what's going to happen with Caicedo at Brighton. The Hatate to Brighton rumours were gathering pace even before last season finished. Anyway, but it was a big call today. One that I would say paid off for Brendan. David Turnbull's had a good pre-season. As I say, seen him in the flesh on Tuesday night. Played very well. He's got 2 goals again today. I don't know if you guys have touched on it, but I thought the third goal, especially, it's a hard ball to take. The way it bounced and he took it in his stride and gave us that.
You can tell he was wanting to just keep it low. Just make sure you keep it low.
Absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. When Hatate came on, it wasn't his usual explosive best, but none of them were. Or not, he will is that's a whole different ball game. But definitely, we just don't know whether he is going or not. It'll all depend on what kind of fee we could get for him. That, I suppose, is one of the things that no matter what happens, it's going to be a good fee. He's more than what we paid for him, shall we say? But fingers crossed. I certainly hope no, Willie. And you know, the more good players we've got in that squad, the better. Yeah. But I have to say, I'm a big David Turnbull fan as well, and I think we all are, to be fair. But he definitely done his chances of holding down a more regular place, no harm today.
100%. And obviously, kind of tailing off the end of the podcast and pre-match big statements from Starfelt, Hatate being left out.
It's only an hour, man.
Get Ross toasted, man. But I was going to come to his eight in the bench. I'll start with Ross. Obviously, the big statements was the lineup and Starfelt and Hatate on the bench. But if you anything to add, anyone you want to talk about in particular, because my topics are kind of done, but yourself.
In terms of the
game,
not really. No, I think we've covered quite a bit of it. Listen, I struggle to say. Home came on the day, right? The big thing for me is we have, right. The big thing for me with him is I thought he was going to come in as a number 10. It doesn't look like for all the world. And I think, listen, he maybe could play the number 10. I've not seen that yet, but when he comes on, you've seen Cal McGregor moving up one. It's a good thing to have. The flexibility anyway under Ange in the middle of the park was really good. But a player that we've forgot about completely today is Awata. I think he's got a lot to bring to that team.
I said that
going forward
as well.
You
Forget about him in midfield, don't you? Because you played right back in the season.
He's not getting you. Obviously, these new guys have come in and you've talked about them, and then he's getting played out of positions he's sort of forgot about. But Awata can come into that team at any point. And he'll be really good, and it won't change the dynamic of the team, if you like. Home can come in. The options we've got, you've got Home, Awata, McGregor, Turnbull, O'Reilly. We've lost Moy. I don't even notice it. And
Thank God.
As good as he was, he was really good for Celtic last year. You have to admit, you don't notice it. You do not notice it. The midfield options and the flexibility is unbelievable.
That's the biggest. That's the key word. See when you talk. See everybody you named off there. Awata, Calmac, Home. It looks like Hatate and O'Reilly. Every one of them can play 6, 8.
That's the flexibility side of things.
You've
seen it now, and others can play different positions better than others. But if you're playing a big European game and you're picking what you perceive as your strongest team for that game, the fixture, you can still then play. I don't know. I'm not going to say names because I don't know who's going to play in that game. But you can change it up. You can change it up and play it against, like today, for instance, a Ross County. It might be them again, and Celtic can go and win that game. And they've used the squad, and people are not getting tired. I don't like that with professional players because they train every day and they're fit as anything. But they can't complain about being tired because the squad depth is there, and these players can do the job. We've proved it today.
See this thing, by the way, I just want to touch on this as well. Tony just mentioned about Ole and how he thinks he's going to be a player. And I totally agree. I think it's a totally different option. We kind of talked about it pre-pod, how it's a different option for us. But he didn't feature today, right? And we've seen that pre-season, Ange likes Maeda through the middle. Does that, Tony, I'll come to you because you talked about Ole and how you think does that give you the fear that Ole's not going to get as many minutes as you would hope this season?
No, well, I think, as I said last season, when we spoke about potentially this third striker that we might need, for that point it was Kyogo and Gigi. And I says, is the problem, the answer to that problem already in the building? Do we play Maeda through the middle more? Obviously, there's been a bit of a swap between Gigi and O coming in, Wally. But to answer the question, I would say no, purely based on what I've seen of him since he's come in. I think he's gradually been getting better. I know he's got a bit of something, he's a bit of a monkey to go off his back after he's missed at Ibrox. There's just going to be a section of support that won't forgive him for that. I think, despite the fact I think he scored in every game after that, but till the end of the season, until he maybe does something big in one of the derbies or maybe a game in Europe, that's something that's perhaps going to be around his neck. But certainly when he came on and I appreciate it's a testimonial, so you can't read too much into it. But when he came on Tuesday night, he's got one of these, powerful physiques that can just, bully defenders and getting the way that obviously we set up as well. They can come a bit deeper as well, and he can help out in the midfield as well and get those balls in to whether it be Maeda or Kyogo, if any or the two are still on the park. I also do think though that this might be the season, because just going by Brendan's comments, this might be the season where we start to flirt with having two strikers up front again.
Totally agree with that.
Listen, everyone knows how much I love Ange Postecoglou as much as any other Celtic supporter. I love these free-flowing, attacking, gung-ho, attack. That's what we as Celtic supporters crave.
Enough to pay £200 for a painting on that shit.
Funniest day ever.
I don't regret a single thing about that.
But I do think, sometimes I think Brendan gets a little bit unfairly criticised for being the football's a little bit slower, or I've heard some people even use the word boring. I don't think so, but what I would say, it's a bit more calculating in the way that Ange plays the game, and I would say it's a little bit more tactically savvy.
Great.
which I think that this group of players and the players that we end up bringing in will be used to playing more than one, even two. I think there might be a time during certain games we change formation and systems and positions on the park 3-4 times, and all of these guys are going to be very comfortable doing it. So
I agree.
To answer, you know what I'm like, Willie. I always why call a spade when you can call it a sharp implemented piece of gardening equipment.
I think
will be a big player for us this season.
John, what do you think about the? Why do you think that? Listen, we hate to keep rolling, man.
Thoroughly prefer. It's like Sky Sports News. That's
the whole situation. I mean, when Andrew was in charge, it was like. I'll take it because Stephen's a fucking.
No, I'm going. Don't worry.
Because Andrew was like, Maeda's my left winger, and that's it.
Right.
Kyogo's playing for an hour, 70 minutes, and then O's coming on the last 20 minutes. That's not the case now. It seems like Rodgers likes Maeda through the middle too. So if Kyogo's not playing through the middle, for what I've seen so far, if Kyogo's not playing through the middle, he's wanting Maeda through there. Do you think that? Like, what do you think about that, and what O's minutes are going to look like this season?
It's a tough one because I like Maeda through the middle as well.
I mean, just play them all through the middle. Just play two at the back and fucking everybody through the middle.
Everybody else through the middle. No, listen,
we won a European Cup with a 2-3-5 formation. Just saying, start them all through the middle.
But listen, I think that I still think O's going to get his fair share. I still think O's going to get his fair share of chances, and I think he'll get minutes. I think Rodgers is going to give him the opportunity to obviously prove that he's capable and everything else, and I think that he's still going to get that. So
it's interesting because see the way we've talked about earlier about how Kyogo's playing this year. I think that suits O to a T. Coming in short and playing guys in, so you think it would suit him more. But it's stupid to say because in the same sentence, Rodgers' teams throughout the years, doesn't matter if it's us, Leicester, Liverpool, he likes that guy on the shoulder to get in behind. But he's had Kyogo coming short all the day. It's really, really interesting.
But you have to regard that as well. I mean, Kyogo's putting them defenders out. Turnbull's making a run in behind. So it's like... but
that's not... Like, Jamie Vardy's not doing that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I get what you mean. But maybe
Suarez isn't doing that.
But maybe he's seen something there. The Kyogo come deep and playing the ball in behind, which worked.
The most important thing, I think, for O is any chance he does get, he needs to take it completely.
But the problem is, right, I think the problem is he's came in after Gigi and O's no an out-and-out goal scorer. Gigi would come on for 20 minutes and get a goal every other fucking game. O's not going to do that. His game's different. He brings others into the game, and a lot of people don't see that.
Unfortunately, getting judged on
under Rodgers, any chance that he gets, if he comes in and he can play that way like Kyogo did today, and he can come back and help play other people in, as long as he's giving other players a chance to get in behind and we're scoring off the back yet.
Contributing in other ways. Maybe
he needs to contribute, not necessarily through not just necessarily scoring goals, but he needs to take every opportunity he gets. Because if he does get an opportunity and he comes on and he does absolutely hee-haw, then Rodgers might just say, well, this isn't working.
I'll play my through the middle. He done it Tuesday.
He did. Yeah. You're right. The only man he needs to impress is Rodgers, but there's going to be fans out there that, much like everybody goes on at Joe Hart for making that silly mistake in the game, if O's not putting the ball in the back of the net, it doesn't matter what he's doing at the other end of the park.
But what I will say about, I like O, and I've seen him, for what I've seen O up until this point, he's a decent, he's a good player.
Of course, yeah.
And you can see there's a player in him.
Absolutely.
He just needs a chance.
Well, if you look at the profile of O, it's like Dembele, that type of bustling striker. But I think with O as well, what we've seen in pre-season, he's offering more, like coming back.
He'll run the channel.
And making them runs that no one else would do.
I think he runs his channels in that well. I don't, as much as Kyogo seems to be coming up deeper in Lincoln, I don't think Kyogo will be the guy that runs his channels and stuff. I think he'll sort of maybe play the width for the sort of the box, if you like, whereas I know wider and stuff.
And one of the things I think that
Rodgers will get his chance under Rodgers.
I think he needs to take any chance.
I think like Wally was saying, I think Maeda will get more of a chance through the middle, but as he did under. And I
think everybody will get their chance under Rodgers. He said it. No, behind me.
You weren't too busy paying before taking on the phone.
I'm just coming off of what you have said. I think everybody will, because he said, I don't know if it was the presser or the post-match interview, but he said that he'll use the squad.
But I guarantee you as well. Guarantee you.
I think we've seen my head for the middle.
I know,
Oh,
that day,
absolutely.
but see how we all I mean, every podcast we talked about how Kyogo's Ange's favourite. It doesn't matter what's going to happen, he's going to play Kyogo.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if O's showing more in training, Rodgers will drop Kyogo for him. He showed it today with Turnbull and Hatati. He's going to make the decision, and that's it. Whatever's best for the team, he'll do.
Get him out time to use Griffiths.
And then you look at the Narocki and Starfelt. I know obviously it came out after it that maybe it's because Starfelt's potentially leaving, but if you look at Starfelt and CCV's record together domestically, I don't think they've lost a game domestically. But first game of the season, Rodgers has put the guy in that he's wanting.
What was that stat today? Figures 62 games when he's lost one.
That's incredible.
That's incredible.
It was against Livy, which feels like about 8 years ago.
Yeah. And then I'd say another thing people fail to realise about he's actually predominantly a left winger. Like in his club and his career, he was playing predominantly left hand side coming in.
By the way, that's what's that Korean like.
So I read up about him and stuff. Like we all do. We take an interest.
Oh, he's never a left winger.
You look at it.
I know, I hear what you're saying, but he's never a left winger.
100%. He's better for the middle, but for blue wings that he played for, he did play predominantly left hand side, and that's where he kind of moved in. Obviously, but
see how we've talked about. See how kind of we've given loads and loads of praise about how it's a bit different and Kyogo's coming deeper and all the rest of it as well. See how you said about the game, how you've watched it and you're like, I don't know how I feel about that result because we scored 4 goals, but it's not enough for me and all the rest of it.
What the hell were you talking about before that?
No, they two aren't they? But see how we kind of talked about how Kyogo comes deep and all the rest of it. I want my striker in the fucking box.
But you agree, Kyogo was brilliant.
He was brilliant today, but I want my striker in the box scoring goals.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that
He
might kind of take away for that. I won.
Yeah.
It's not
in the box, he
Kyogo's
could have
game.
scored 3.
Kyogo's a penalty box player.
Aye.
Well,
It's interesting. I'll be
not out
interested
and
to
out penalty box player.
Because I thought he played well.
But I don't think he was as effective in the game as he has been under Ange in the past. Ange knows him better than Brendan Rodgers did. He's getting used to it.
I think one of the things that Kyogo can do though in that sort of role is he'll drag defenders with him to an extent. And if that creates gaps in the back for any overlapping player and he's able to take advantage of that and utilise it like he did, not necessarily he didn't drop deep for the O'Reilly goal. He wasn't. But he drew the defender with him and left himself with a gap, and that chip to play him through was phenomenal. So if he can if that's a new thing that he's going to start to bring to the team, we can benefit from it as long as guys are reading the game and are making the moves. And
well, they did today.
Yeah. That's what I mean. But you need that to continue, right? And if Kyogo is able to do that, then fine. But I agree with what you're saying. It's like you want a striker to be in those positions because he's going to be the guy that you go to score the goals. So there might even be an opportunity to even fucking play O and drop Kyogo back. And see if there's anything that Kyogo can maybe do. Because he can if he's moving back and forth between the forward line and he's dropping back.
Or you play a 3, or you play a 3 at the back and put 2 of them up top.
But see that's the amount of stuff we spoke about.
You let Kyogo drop and leave O in the position.
You can tell we play Football Manager, right?
Oh, but see the amount of stuff we spoke about, the amount of options in different formations, the flexibility all over the obviously.
And without actually making a substitution as
well.
well.
For the defence, because that'll be obviously you could play a 3, but I don't expect Rodgers to play a 3 a lot. But for middle to front, the options, the flexibility, and the different formations we can play.
Without actually
changing straight windy, by the way.
I do want to say something as well. I want to
how many? I only started one new player.
We've got 14 options in every position.
I want to take it away from the game a wee minute. Obviously, we spoke about it in depth, and Anthony, we talked about pre-match as well, about the group brigade and the boys group, and we talked about them not being there for James Forrest's testimonial. Was it a protest against Rodgers? But in the stadium today, it looked unified. It looked great, the tifos and that. But where did you stand on what happened on Tuesday night with the whole thing? And do you know anything about it? Because we obviously no statement's been put out, but what's your opinion?
Yeah, so a lot of the guys on, obviously there was very few people in the Block 111 on Tuesday night. The ones that were there didn't look as if they would be what you would describe as the stereotypical members of the Green Brigade, Stephen. They were just there. They had their kids with them and they were watching the match. There was definitely no effort to get sing-songs going or anything like that. And obviously the automatic thing is, are they just not turning up? Is it a protest against Brendan Rodgers or anything like that? There certainly has been members of the Green Brigade, and certainly that there wasn't a boys group contingent over in the southwest corner, although that area was more populated. But there certainly wasn't any effort to make a banners group or anything like that during the match. They've come out online without, and this is where it frustrates me, because automatically that's where you start. The problem is they've not come out. They're never shy in making a statement online, as we know. And the fact that they've made statements over a lot of, situations that are less important than that, had they just came out and says, we're not turning up tonight, and it's not a protest against Brendan Rodgers, it's just the fact that some of the group are still on holiday, they're maybe taking the occasion to sit somewhere else with members of their family and things like that, which a lot of them have now come out and said.
But why were all the tickets no bought though?
Well, this is where the situation arises. Well, what the problem is usually where I sit in FS6 in the south stand, and the minute I don't take my ticket up for it be a cup game or something like that, that ticket can automatically go to public sale. The Green Brigade are claiming that for whatever reason 111 isn't put up for public resale, hence why it was very sparsely populated on the night. That
standing.
Yeah. So and that's the whole point of it. But listen, the problem I have with the Green Brigade is they've made a rod for their own back on this. I tell you what, as much as I have a lot of frustrations with them, I'll be prepared to take. I'm on record. I'll take them at face value on it and say it wasn't a protest against Brendan Rodgers. It was just on the night we decided we're not doing it. But I'm going to pick them up on a few issues with that. Then, one, if you don't do testimonials, then that's for, well, the Stilian Petrov tribute match was sold out. There was two. The Scott Brown testimonial was sold out. The Lubo versus Larson Legends match was sold out. I appreciate that was a Sunday after a cup final and not a random Tuesday night.
Was involved in that match as well.
Exactly, the newest member of the group, folks. And not a random Tuesday night. I accept all that, right? But also, had there been a testimonial the day after the cup final, it probably would have sold out. But then again, the stadium was also half empty at Hampden. There was no presence of them at the women's game either. So this big, we're there to support the girls for the two game for the Celtic. Let's be honest, the outcome of the women's fixtures was very much second fiddle to what they were actually at the game for there that night.
Didn't have to pay for that to realise what you've done here.
But the problem I have with it is, see if you, as I say, they're not shy about making statements about everything. You bring up any subject, the Green Brigade will have a statement to make on it. How none of the leadership in that group thought, by the way, like none of us are going to be in 111 tonight. This isn't going to look good. Put some up on Twitter. I know they don't allow any comments to have on it, free speech and all that, but they decided to block all comments and say nothing. People, they can't surely be surprised if people maybe do start jumping to conclusions, especially on the back of that nonsense that they came away with on the day that Brendan was officially announced as manager. As I say, I will give them credit where it's due, and I'll criticise them where I feel it's valid. For what it's worth, the day I thought they did very well the day. It was a brilliant tifo. There was no nonsense about it. It was like I don't know if Sky showed it. It was like a magic. It was like a magician's hat, and it says "We're magic." And at the start, it was just the hat, and then when they let off some of the stuff, the three trophies came out the top. So that was brilliant. The boys, as I say, I don't know if they had what their stance is on Brendan's return. They're very much a B player compared to the Green Brigade in terms of the formation of an ultras group, but their display today was brilliant as well. It was 8 different treble collections with a European Cup in the middle, saying there is one name that stands above all in football. So something along their lines, which was brilliant, and it set the tone right for what's been a pretty successful day on the park as well.
Absolutely.
By the way,
Totally agree.
can I just say what the difference between the boys and the Green Brigade is? The Green Brigade are like football ultras, right? They wear Stone Island and that, right? And the boys, plank in Burger King.
Just to say, folks, I sit round about the same section as the boys, so if none of you could glass me on the next home game, that'd be great.
Listen, we can't leave that on that political Green Brigade.
This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to say. Obviously, Brendan Rodgers came in pre-season under his belt now, Franny. People,
you remember them?
You're it feels like back in the day when Ross got at me for leaving the last. But I mean, in terms of it, he's had a pre-season under his belt. First game today, 4-2. We watched it all together. Bar Anthony, he was at the game. It was brilliant. Are you buzzing that he's back? Obviously, people are still a bit indifferent. We don't know how to feel about the game, but not the man himself. How do you feel at the minute?
Oh, I mean, I think we're all unanimous that we're happy that Brendan Rodgers is back. I think, you can bring up questions and stuff, why he left, how he left, and things like that. But
that's a good point, by the way.
We said it before.
Very good point.
We said it before. Out of all the candidates that we heard about anyway, obviously, there was probably other ones that Celtic were speaking of, but the ones that we were made aware of, Brendan Rodgers blew them out the park. Simply blew them out the park. There was nobody really touched them and stuff. So, like, he's obviously came back. He said, "Oh, I'll be here for 3 years." I'm not too sure if he will.
Luton Town's got
honestly, I think we can all agree it's brand Brendan, and I'm like Willie earlier, like everybody. I fell hook, line, and sinker for every line again. I was not disappointed when Brendan Rodgers came back. I think as soon as I heard his name was mentioned, it was like, well, we need to go and get him.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of how he left, or whatever your views behind it, I think it was, like we say, it was outstanding candidate. So I'm buzzing that he's back. I think we've got a top manager. If you actually look at it, as much as we're disappointed that Postecoglou left, if I've got the semi-final with that Leicester team, won an FA Cup. I agree in his last season it wasn't great, but if you look at it, wasn't investment. I think they've got to commend the Celtic board and go, by the way, they're proud of a masterstroke. We get a top manager in here. A guy that's done what he's done with Leicester. So I'm absolutely buzzing that Rodgers is back, and just hopefully, like you say, I'm similar to you and Ross with the transfer market, but I'm holding out hope that he'll bring in that better level on paper, that better level of play.
I think that will come, and obviously, Willie, we're here at Grace's. Always a regalo.
Grace's bar.
I've had a few jars. How are you feeling about today?
I mean, the day's been brilliant. I told you that I wouldn't have missed it for something, but I'll not say
that's
Flag Day, the football's back. Brendan Rodgers is back. I could not be more ecstatic about that. I know for some people we left on sure terms. I'm not going to go over it again because we've went over it 1,000 times. But he's back in the boat, and I believe every single word he says. He's one of us. I believe that I totally believe everything he says when he says that he never realised what he left. I think he'll see the contract out and further. We've played some scintillating attacking football today, and it's only the first game of the season. We've barely had a pre-season underneath us. It might need a wee bit of work at the back, like they said. But if Angie's going to leave the club, which is heartbreaking, I couldn't think of anybody better to come in that would soften the blow as much as Brendan did. We've got a fantastic squad of players. A treble-winning squad. That's the only two players we've lost off note that you could think of off the top of your head is Jota and Moy. I think we've had a good window. We've got some promising players. David Turnbull's going to win Ballon d'Or 2024, and I'm going to continue to
Pour the pints.
I wasn't what I'm saying. I'm like,
I said before the pre-pod, I hope that you are as lucky as me and you get to watch the game with your loved ones. These guys are my brothers. I love this podcast. I love doing this. I'm going to continue to do this through the year. And I'm going to party on through the night with these boys. So I hope you all enjoy your flag day as much as I do.
Yeah, I think
Brilliant.
See, just to touch on Rodgers as well, I love the fact that I think none of us wanted an apology, but I love his apology with his
aye.
like, I don't regret making the decision I done. I regret that it upset folk, and I love that. It's like he's owning his decision. It just shows the caliber of the manager.
Taking ownership for it. I like Willie said there.
I didn't regret coming in at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I just regret
I do want to say one thing as well. Like Willie said, like this is the first time we've done this, like all
It's
together.
a fucking shambles.
No, I think it's been incredible. Thanks to everyone who stuck with us, got involved with the comments from myself, Willie, Franny, Ross, Anthony, John. We've all enjoyed it, and hopefully we'll do more in the future. Like this, obviously.
Say something as
Of
well.
course, I one-off specials, and John, you
Just
can take it away.
back. Just back.
No, I just want to say thanks again to everybody who's obviously tuned in. Like I said, this is obviously the first time we've all done this as a group. Willie obviously hosting it and letting us obviously take over his bar to get everything set up. I know there's been a couple of wee technical difficulties regarding the audio, but these are things we're ironing out. But I appreciate everybody, obviously, as I says, for tuning in and getting involved in the comments and everything else. And anybody who's watching this now or even catching up on YouTube after the fact, let us know just generally what you thought of us all being together in the same room and just give us a bit of feedback in that respect, just so that we know
It's what
how it was. Because that'll determine whether or not we do it again. So it'll be good to just sort of hear what you guys thought about us all being together and everything else. Cheers, Phil.
See, even saying that though, even if you hate it, we will absolutely
Aye,
do this
tell
again.
them-
We will do it every time.
He's had an excuse to get out of the house. I love you, Sean. I love you. I really do.
Well, listen, it's been great just being able to do all this with everybody again, and it's great for me just being back on the podcast, and I've enjoyed it, and you'll be seeing for good.
It's
of
good
course.
to be back.
Aye.
Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
it's good to be back. Good to be back.
But you'll be seeing a little bit more of me, obviously, in coming weeks as well. So, and keep an eye out on our Twitter and things like that as well, because we've got other big stuff coming.
And keep an eye out for the 4-hour ref fucking rants with John.
You've all got that to look forward to as well. No
John
doubt.
Anderson's going to get it tight.
I'll be back, man. No, but I just wanted to say thanks to everybody, and like I said, leave a bit of feedback and let us know how this particular format was for you guys.
Yeah, 100%.
Want to sign us off, Captain?
I'm not going to sign us off when I come to these two. Anthony, anything to add to it?
Yeah, basically, just as I say, I caught what some of you guys had. I'll be very short and sweet, just like I take my tea, Stephen. Listen, I've obviously just gone down at the tail end there. I caught some of it on the way through the game today. It's absolutely superb what you guys have done, but good result today to start off the season. We'll obviously discuss it more on Monday night when I'm hosting, Stephen. So tune in for that, folks. And we'll probably just go over what we've just went over again. But just I wanted to say, one, it's great to I've not seen you since the Christmas party, 2021. So me and you are just about to go and hit the shots as we speak. So I've not seen you for a while, mate, and it's great to have you back over. And but yeah, I'd obviously it's great to have this man back and his Undertaker best. He is the phenom of the Endless Celts. And listen, this is the full panel together for a live show. Can't ask for any more
It's
than
a
that.
bit like
Love
getting
yous,
Henrik
and
back
we're going to
to
get
his
absolutely
game.
maracked today.
What about you, Roscoe?
I was going to keep it quick, but now that I know you need a pee.
Keep it going, boy.
Nah,
Keep us
listen,
on here.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, I reiterate what folk have said. It's great to have John back. He's been doing brilliant work behind the scenes. I don't know if you've noticed the new graphic on the
thumbnail.
on the YouTube.
On the YouTube.
But he's doing other works. He's been building up a sort of website for us, which is in the offing. It's coming soon, and you'll be able to access. John will tell you better in future, but you'll be able to access all our stuff off that one area.
Ross is a tech guy.
I'm the tech guy. No, listen, it's been first class today. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Been in, like, I love going out for a drink with my mates. I love watching the Celtic with my mates. I love doing the podcast with my mates. To do the podcast in the one room and all of that stuff with my mates, it's brilliant. And I really hope it's worked. Obviously, we've had technical issues, but I really hope it's worked for the people that are watching it. And as John says, give the feedback. We love the feedback. We love everybody watching. And if it has worked, regardless if it has or not,
Well,
doing it again. That's it.
Might be a shout for Champions League nights, by the way. Pre and post.
Well, need
Away game.
I'll need
I'm
it
not
all
fucking
of
getting
these
this
as
one.
well. I'll need to phone me for bodies.
But again, everyone, thanks very much. I think there's only one place to say now. Stay well and keep safe. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Hail, hail.
Pam and Joe P.